He's a yes on honoring Charlie Kirk, and AOC just voted no.
His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated.
Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Spit on your grave! Spit on your grave!
All right, in today's episode, the House just passed a resolution to honor Charlie Kirk, but it did come with 58 Democrats voting against it. Secondly, protesters are now attacking an ICE detention facility, and we have more fallout from Jimmy Kimmel's show getting pulled, including the One American Network that just got dropped by DirecTV. So in this video, we're going to show you both sides as usual and give you the bottom line, but let's start with what happened in the House when they went to pass this resolution. Take a look.
Got some breaking news here, Chad, that Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrats, the House Democrats, just voted yes. He's a yes on honoring Charlie Kirk, and AOC just voted no. So there is the divide right there within the Democratic Party on a resolution that really should be bringing everyone together. Thank you, Chad Pergram, live on the Hill for us with that breaking news. Let's bring in Shannon Bream now. Give us your take on, this is a resolution that is very simple.
On this vote,
very easy to understand, and there it is. It's final now. Let's listen in.
Voting present are 38. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
There it is. It has passed in the House, this resolution to honor Charlie Kirk.
Now, to my understanding, once something passes in the House, it's going to go to the Senate, so we'll see what happens there. That's the first thing. Secondly, this happens whenever a political leader is assassinated or some heinous act has been done against a politician or something like that. And we saw it in Minnesota, where they unanimously had the same vote. Everybody voted to condemn the political violence that happened against Melissa Hartman. Okay, she was the one that was assassinated in Minnesota. So you would think Democrats, would not only vote for this, but they would go along with this, and they did it. In fact, AOC tripled down on her hateful rhetoric towards Charlie Kirk. Hear it for yourself.
Instead of uniting Congress in this tragedy with one of the many bipartisan options to condemn political violence and Kirk's murder, as we did with the late Melissa Hartman, instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant, and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
So that is a prime example of why conservatives, especially if you consider yourself to be a Christian conservative, should be very aware of the people in this country and how they see you. You see, if you stand firm like Charlie Kirk did in your belief, your faith, especially your Christian values, they believe that is hateful rhetoric. See, they're lazy. They don't want to debate on the actual policies. They'd rather just assassinate your character. In Charlie Kirk's case, they actually assassinated him, which was just tragic. But that's who we're dealing with, folks. That when you stand firm, they call you a bigot, they call you a racist. In fact, I would argue that they are the ones who are truly the bigots and the racists. Now, here is Steve Scalise, because we know he already experienced political violence. He was shot before, almost lost his life. Here's his reaction to AOC in this mess.
Yeah, it's a shame that that's where their party has moved. It's not where America is. I mean, my gosh, we've seen such an outpouring of love for Charlie, what he represented, the idea that we should be able to debate freely even when we disagree and do it in a civil way. And that's what Charlie did, and it's what he represented. It's why you're seeing millions of people that maybe never heard of him thinking about things differently. But, what happened on the House floor, those members who voted no, I thought it was disgraceful. I mean, just paying tribute, paying honor to his life. That was taken away by an assassin. That's something they've got to answer, not me.
Now, this article that was published earlier today by Axios probably explains why she said what she said and why we've seen this disgusting behavior from her, especially today, because they are saying that her team is positioning her to run for president or the U.S. Senate in 2028. According to people familiar with her operation. Why does it matter? Well, her 2028 decision could shake up the presidential race, obviously, and the Senate's leadership, because we know Chuck Schumer, out of all Democrats, is polling at the lowest, and he's been in trouble for quite some time. So maybe that's why she's acting this way. Who knows? I don't think she's very smart or bright herself. I think she is just a product of what's wrong with politics, okay? When people just decide to go down this radical path, they vote people like her in. I think that's exactly what's happening with New York City. So we'll see what happens, but here is what CNN thinks about her potential presidential run and what her chances might look like.
I think she'd win. I think she'd win in a landslide, and I say that as a New York Democratic voter because Chuck Schumer has proven himself not up to the task and the moment that we're living in. I mean, Chuck Schumer, I don't know what he's doing. He's sending thoughts and prayers our way, I guess, but I don't see Chuck Schumer taking any kind of affirmative action to fight back against this assault on everything that Democrats stand for, whether it's, protecting democracy, whether it is supporting a continuing resolution that funded a lot of Donald Trump's priorities last time around, the fact that he still hasn't said whether he's going to filibuster this or what he's going to do with it. I mean, Chuck Schumer was a great senator in the 90s, but we're living in a very different world. AOC may not be my cup of tea when it comes to policy a lot of times, but I think her approach is very much of the moment. And I think even Democrats who don't necessarily agree with her on policy want a fighter, and they're not seeing Chuck Schumer be that fighter today. I say that with a heavy heart. I think he's been a great senator, but I also think he's just not up for the moment right now.
All right, so allow me to share a quick message from today's sponsor, Bearskin. Yes, it is summertime right now, but let's not forget, winter will come, and the last thing you need is a hoodie that sucks. It's a great time to do your winter shopping, which is why most people are smart by locking in their 60% off with Bearskin. What is Bearskin exactly? It's what I'm wearing right now. It's a hoodie that is built like a tank, 340 GSM micro fleece, 10 pockets with a clean, rugged fit that looks awesome. As you guys can see, I look great, right? I mean, come on. Plus, it zips right into a heavy storm rain jacket to become 100% waterproof when you need it. So when it turns cold, wet, or rainy, you're not scrambling last minute. Plus, you're going to get free U.S. shipping, fast delivery, and your winter gear already locked in. So get your Bearskin today by texting my name, Devori, to 36912. Again, text my name, Devori, to 36912 to get 60% off. They'll send you a link so you could check out on your own time. Once again, text my name, Devori, to 36912. One of the lessons I've been blessed to learn at an earlier age than most, I would probably argue, is that nothing's ever going to make sense in your life unless you're living on purpose. What does that mean? That you're doing exactly what God has called you to do. I don't think the Democrat Party is doing that. That's why they're going far left. I mean, just think about it. What they should be doing is going towards the center, finding moderate policies to get behind, working with the president, finding compromise. That's who they used to be, if you think about it. But that party is dead and gone at this point. And so Chuck Schumer is definitely in trouble, no question about it. And let's not forget the disgusting 58 Democrats who voted against this resolution to honor Charlie Kirk. Now let's go to our next story. At a Chicago ICE detention facility just moments ago, protesters were outside doing two things, and they've been doing this. Remember, the left is not violent, right? Number one, they are getting violent by damaging federal property, and two, they're obstructing justice. Take a look.
You can see this federal vehicle, this government vehicle, attempting to get into this facility, and this is what has been happening. So we're going to walk a little bit closer. Come on, let's go this way. We're going to get a little bit closer here so we can see what's going on. We have another vehicle coming out right here. Watch out for this. So this vehicle is leaving right now and now they've just popped a tire. So you can see this, they just slashed this tire right here of this government vehicle. You've got these guys up on the roof that have pepper ball launchers. This is going to be deployed. They've got that tire slash here. So they have certainly taken matters into their own hands down here on the protest level, going from what was pretty calm and peaceful to, again, slashing tires, really creating these issues for these federal law enforcement officials. I mean, look up on the roof here. You got 3 guys now with pepper ball launchers ready to respond to this crowd. Luckily, we didn't have tear gas or anything deployed right there. But
Do you get it? They say that all the political violence is on the right, that the left is peaceful, but they continue to get away with damaging federal property. They continue to disrupt people from doing their jobs. When you're blocking ICE from entering and exiting a federal facility, you should be arrested. Now, because they're in Chicago, the police isn't going to show up. Do you guys get it? You see, that's how they continue to, I would say, attempt to program the average American out there that what President Trump is doing is terrorizing the neighborhoods. That doesn't look like ICE is terrorizing anything. That looks like the protesters are terrorizing things.
Shame! Fuck you! Get the fuck out of here! Shame! 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 Fuck out!
Yeah, so pardon the language, but listen, I have to show you guys these clips because it's one thing for you to hear about it and read about it, but when you see the video footage, it's definitive. These people are dangerous. They're violent. I mean, don't they have full-time jobs? Who's paying them to do this? That's a great question, and I think that's what the administration's still trying to figure out because someone's funding this. And again, is this what democracy is supposed to look like? Because that's what they cry about all day long. They say they're peaceful. Is that what peace looks like? I just find it interesting, man. It's shameful. Now, one of the individuals who is an elected leader in the area of Chicago, he was there. He was the guy who was trying to block the vehicle from leaving. Here's his excuse.
We were kind of on the front line of it as a vehicle was coming. And so we were looking to block the vehicle. It still kept driving, almost ran over someone. And at that point, we started seeing the pellets. So it was tear gas, it was pepper spray, a little mix of both. So you could feel it even under the mask and start coughing and like start, spitting out and get everything. So
you had a mask on at the time?
Yeah, so even through the mask, you can feel it. Like right now, I can still feel a little burn in the eyes, back of the neck, just because of the chemicals themselves. And then just, I was able to walk, clear my head a little bit, then grab water. One, to take care of myself, but then make sure other people were okay.
All right, this guy's a freaking joke. He wants to make sure they're okay, like they are the victims here, right? I mean, how do you feel that you can just go and disrupt federal authorities from doing their job and you're the victim? The logic, it just violates common sense, as you guys know. Now, here is Tricia McLaughlin, who is the spokesperson and an assistant secretary of DHS. Here's her reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reminder that we're not going to back down. There can be politicians who try to demonize our law enforcement. We're frequently hearing, whether it be Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, or even the politicians out of New York likening our ICE law enforcement to the Gestapo, to Nazis, to slave patrol, as you heard Jasmine Crockett call them earlier. This is incredibly violent rhetoric, and it is giving a permission slip to lunatics to take matters into their own hands and to commit violence against our officers who are already facing a 1,000% increase in assaults against them. We will not be deterred. We know the American people will not be deterred. We've been recruiting scores of new law enforcement agents, 150,000 applications. So the American people see through the charade of the media. They see what they're trying to do in demonizing our law enforcement, who are just enforcing the rule of law on the books, Bill.
So bottom line is, it's another day and another, activism turning violent against federal authorities, particular ICE agents, all because they are doing exactly what they are allowed to do based on our Constitution and the laws passed by Congress. So let's work that equation out in our head. Democrats claim all political violence comes from the right. But then these are the same individuals that were firebombing Teslas, planted bombs at Tesla dealerships, by the way, vandalized innocent people's Teslas, and doxed Tesla owners. Then let's go a step further. They have been assaulting ICE facilities all over the country, in Dallas and Portland, to the point where even the local community, who disagrees with ICE, by the way, are complaining about them, to the point where even the local police refuse to do anything about it. And that's what you're seeing here in Chicago. They're not even going to respond to this nonsense. But they say they are not violent, the political left. They are all peaceful. Well, I think this post from ICE sums it up. Reminder, if you assault a federal officer or agent, you will face the full extent of the law. And I hope these people are arrested.
How long do you think Governor Pritzker can keep going on saying no to any federal help in his state and in Chicago, when every weekend we see the crime numbers there, just huge amounts of people being shot and killed?
Yeah, and we hear, Bill, more and more people there in Chicago showing up to meetings, council meetings, expressing their frustration, saying they want help with crime. It's interesting that the president has been able to bring together places where you've got a big blue state. This is not Illinois, but places like Louisiana, places like Missouri and Tennessee, we've got a red state governor. And even if the blue state officials don't want it, the mayors don't want it, there is some success for the president in trying to bring help into those areas. So I don't know, with Governor Pritzker, I mean, he continues to push back, but the Chicago numbers are among the worst in the country, and they are consistently bad, as you said, every weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how many people within his city continue to go more public with their concerns about the fact that, listen, whether they love President Trump or not, or his policies, they want help with crime, and it's the most vulnerable areas that need the most help.
I think it's abundantly clear at this point that J.B. Pritzker and people just like him do not care about cracking down on crime. They only care about one thing. They wake up in the morning for only one thing, not their family. It's the fight against President Trump. Whatever he's for, they are against. It's the only way to make sense of this nonsense. For an example, J.B. Pritzker is being exposed for taking a photo with someone who is alleged to be a murderer, someone who committed a crime, also known as a smash and grab. He tried to speed away, got in an accident, and killed the person. Take a listen.
The reason this is getting so much traction is because the photo was of Governor Pritzker with a man now charged in connection to deadly Chicago crash on the Mag Mile. CWB Chicago first reported that 35-year-old Kellen McMiller, now accused of murder, posed for the photo earlier this month at an event highlighting peacekeepers who work in community violence prevention. Now, a spokesperson for Pritzker said they were troubled to learn of the allegations against McMiller, saying in part, quote, "The governor meets hundreds of people in communities every week and is often asked to take photos. We are extremely troubled to learn that this individual was arrested for his alleged involvement in this serious crime, and we expect them to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law." And the spokesperson added that Pritzker did not know McMiller personally, says they took the photo down on the website after being notified that he was arrested. The man, McMiller, and several other men are accused of killing in the crash. As Mark Arceda, the 40-year-old, lived in Skokie, was on his way to work when the suspects in a smash and grab burglary crashed into him in a getaway car. His girlfriend gave birth to their son the day after he died. And tonight, it's not clear how McMiller, who reportedly had 4 outstanding warrants from multiple states, was able to participate in this event and pose with the governor.
Well, I know how he was able to do that, because they don't care about cracking down on crime. He may have had 4 warrants. It doesn't mean they enforced them. I mean, we need to have a serious conversation about crime. You know, I don't want to hear from Democrats, especially one who continues to complain about what President Trump is doing. If you're not actually protesting your own mayor and governor for their sanctuary city policies and soft on crime policies, there's nothing to talk about, because you're a hypocrite. The fact that you're allowing your own elected leader to run your city into the ground and put more people at risk, including yourself and your family, but then you cry all day long on social media about what President Trump is doing, you are a pure hypocrite. No question about it. Now, let's go to our next story, and this is just more troubling stuff, okay? So last night, One of the leaders of Black Lives Matter, also known as Hawk Newscum, his real name is Newsom, but I'm going to call him Newscum, and I don't care if you guys are upset about it because he is scum. This clip I'm about to show you, I think you'll feel the same way right after you hear it. Take a listen.
Fuck Charlie Kirk. Fuck Charlie Kirk. Fuck Charlie Kirk. Fuck Charlie Kirk. Racist bastard. Racist bastard. Piss on your ashes. Piss on your ashes. Spit on your grave. Spit on your grave. I'll never be a slave. 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 I'll never be a slave.
All right, so there's so many words I'd love to use to describe this despicable human being. And, it's just hate. That's all it really is. And you don't respond to hate with hate. I understand that, and I actually believe that. So I'll just keep my words short. And just pray for our country, because there are people walking around repeating that nonsense. And I'm showing it to you because, again, it's one thing for me to tell you, but to show you, I think it resonates a little differently. Now, to pick your mood back up, because after you watch that, there's no way you feel good, right? Here's what Matthew McConaughey had to also say about Charlie Kirk's assassination, just overall as our country and what we should be focusing on. Take a listen.
When we're in the middle of the chaos, we feel like it's on us and on us only, and how in the heaven or hell are we going to get out of it? Faith being something that we can on our own, in the 4 a.m. solitude with ourselves, as well as in the masses in the arena of millions of people, faith is something, a truth, that a stability, that where our head and heart connected with our spirit, where we can feel stable and go and trust ourselves, trust that sometimes this too shall pass. Trust that I'm playing the longer game. No, we're in the immortal race. This is small stuff. This inconvenience that I'm in right now, and believe in that and understanding that helps us get through a lot of crises. And it's not tomfoolery. It's not foolish optimism. It's real.
Yep, that's exactly the way that I think. The only reason why I'm in front of this camera is because of God's grace, his plan for me, and my faith. I always believe, hey, man, God's going to do something special with your life. And I think that's exactly what he's done. I know that's what he's done. And according to the numbers, I shouldn't be here. I've been through a lot in my life. And that's not for you to feel sorry for me or anything like that. It's just to tell you that, listen, we all go through things, and this country is going through a lot right now. That doesn't mean we need to be wrapped up in it and feel like victims. I would definitely caution people against doing that, because that's what Newscum is doing on the streets there. Mr. Black Lives Matter, leader of a scam organization, he's playing the victim. We don't need to be like people like that. I only show you clips like that, even though they can be demoralizing at times, to make you aware of what's going on. So just remember that, all right? Now, this actually takes us to this entire situation with Charlie Kirk's assassination and the continuous fallout from Jimmy Kimmel's show getting pulled. And I think the great thing here is sometimes it's not about politics. Sometimes it's just about business. So you guys have already seen all the reactions about people's opinions, but why don't we get a reaction from an expert, like, someone who served on the board of directors for a major network and understands exactly what happened to his show? Take a listen to this.
Outside of the settlement, there are other actions taken to ensure there would be regulatory approval. I think about rollbacks of DEI policies. I think about some things like the cancellation of Steve Colbert's show. That was never explicitly stated as being part of getting regulatory approval, but it's something that I think a lot of people assumed. Do you think that they made the right choices to ensure that they got the regulatory approval?
I'm not going to tie any of that to regulatory approval. I can tell you that we had been looking at late night. It was financially not viable. It had been that way for a long time. We had made a decision months prior to the announcement that we were not going to be going forward with that show. I love Stephen. He does a great job, but we really needed to be in a financially viable business, and you saw we did that with James Corden as well. And in terms of DEI, I think the reasons why DEI exists matter and will always matter, and we need to continue to fight for those issues. But I think the way in which DEI has been executed has often led to more problems than it solved. So any of the changes that were made or continue to be made, but under us, I think we were trying to create an environment that would address the issues in a different way.
This is an individual who clearly has some level of intelligence and knows how to articulate things that she may disagree with, but in a way where it's not divisive. What do I mean by that? She understands the principles of DEI, but she also understands how destructive it has become. So that's the first thing out of the gate. Anybody who says something like that, I'm willing to listen to, okay? Second point is that clearly late night TV shows are not financially viable. Are we paying attention here? Not the president strong arm ABC, not the FCC force ABC News to do the right thing. They were waiting to pull this show. And the good news here is that these local affiliates did them a huge favor. They pulled it for them, put them in the position where they had no choice. Now, we've been saying that this show was losing money, but people don't want to pay attention to that because that's boring, right? The more sexier and the dramatic way to talk about this is that the FCC threatened them. That's what mainstream media is going to run with. And finally, in case you don't know who she is, her name is Sherry Redstone. She served as the non-executive chair of the board of directors for CB News and Paramount, etc. I might be getting some of her titles wrong, but she was high up there, okay? Probably at the top at one point in time. So I like to believe what she had to say versus some pundit on CNN, if you guys catch my drift.
Democrats in the House and the Senate are deeply disturbed by the events. This is another example of Donald Trump and the Trump administration weaponizing the federal government to go after perceived political adversaries and enemies, and part of an ongoing war against the First Amendment. It's unacceptable, it's unconscionable, and it's un-American.
So, Leader Jeffries, what can Democrats do about it then? That is the issue. Right now, we played some clip a moment ago, Congressman Swalwell with his Jimmy Kimmel Live hat, talking about this on the House floor. But right now, in the minority, with the president, using executive powers to do this, what sort of roadblocks, if any, can you put forth right now?
Well, Robert Garcia, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, has announced a Democratic-led investigation into the recent events related to Jimmy Kimmel, the FCC, and ABC and their toxic decision-making, as well as a broader investigation into the Trump administration's pay-to-play scheme that is massive, ongoing, and part of the culture of corruption that we've witnessed in Washington since January 20th.
Okay, so that's just another mistake by Democrats. Of course, they're basically going to do the thing they accuse President Trump of doing, investigating things they disagree with. Okay. I mean, listen, it is as simple as this. For the last 15 years, people who are moderate Republicans, light conservatives, so to speak, would tune into Jimmy Kimmel. And as time went on, they started to feel like, hey, man, is he mocking me or what? Am I doing something wrong? I may not even support Trump. There's a lot of conservatives that don't. But they were also alienated. And so what happens? That audience goes away, and Jimmy Kimmel doesn't care about keeping that audience. Neither does his producers. So they start to double down on the rhetoric, and it gets more dangerous, more divisive, and it leads to what he had to say that obviously got him and his show pulled. So I think it's as simple as that. And financially, it never made sense to begin with if you're thinking about the last 15 years. So this was a perfect excuse for them. I don't think it has anything to do with the FCC, but that's just me. And so now let's hear from you guys in the comment section below to what we discussed in this video, starting with the House voting on a resolution to honor Charlie Kirk. 58 Democrats voted no, particularly AOC and her disgusting comments. There's so much I want to say about it, but give me your reaction. What would you say to AOC based on what she had to say about Charlie Kirk? Let's start there. And then secondly, you guys heard of the ICE detention facilities being attacked. I thought the political right was violent, but clearly we have more evidence showing you people on the left are violent, popping federal tires or popping tires on federal property and obstructing justice. I mean, that seems like violence to me. You guys saw the clips. What do you make of that? And then finally, this Hawk Newscomb individual out of New York, BLM, scam organization. You heard what he had to say. Give me all your thoughts and everything in the comment section below. Now, late last night, Omar, the brother lover from Somalia who serves in Congress, was exposed by the president. She might be facing immigration fraud after the president put her business out there on social media. So if you guys missed that story and more from yesterday, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.